say that candidates must have answered the questions before because they're right on time. Until they've done this in the past. Next question.
Gentlemen, thank you for coming. And my question is, if you were elected governor, what will you do for state employees? And all we ask is for compensation, recognition, and respect. For your answers.
The question is, what do we do for state employees?
Well, I think we need to change in a very fundamental way the way we approach state employees in a couple different areas. One is, I think we need to get a handle on the number of state employees. We've gone, since the Ron Studer administration has been in power, from 12,900 state employees to 14,465, in a state whose population has remained relatively stable. We really shouldn't have increased the size of government like that. The size and scope of government needs to be brought under control. If we do that, that will free up the dollars necessary to pay state workers a decent wage. In the last two legislative sessions, we've attempted, as a part of amending the budget, to increase salary policy by just 1.5%. But the money's not available because the state of South Dakota's budget is wrecked. And plus, we're going to be facing a deficit in the next year of $107 million. So that's a very dire prediction, but what we need to do is to get the growth of state government under control. We need to reduce the size of state government, which should free up dollars to make it possible to then invest in infrastructure and education. That's what I do as governor.
Well, Scott is using some old numbers, and I want to update him a little bit. The correct numbers were, in fiscal year 03, there were 13,109.7 employees, and by fiscal year 11, the budget we just adopted is 14,362. That growth is 1,252.7 in 8 years. That's a 1.1% increase. 65% of those employees are teachers, researchers, and grad assistants at our universities. So I know Governor, one governor.
I like the first one.
Has suggested in many of his television commercials that we need to cut the state employees. So he must mean that he wants to cut the teachers, researchers, and students at our state universities. And I would be opposed to that. 74% of them are paid for without touching state general fund dollars. They're paid for by other means. But the question really was about taking care of state employees. And one thing that I disagree with is the executive decision recently to increase the salary by $10,000 of the leader of our state hospital when other state employees are frozen. That was the wrong thing to do. I regret that we are not able to give raises to the state employees when we're faced with the budget situation we have. But most of those state employees were able to keep their jobs. And there are many states where that's not been true. In Hawaii, teachers were furloughed every Friday now and not paid. In Illinois, 30% of the state police or highway patrol have been cut. And other states are raising taxes to deal with their state budget problems. South Dakota has not raised taxes. Now, I'll be a state employee if I am fortunate enough, and I won't raise my salary until everybody else's salary can go up, and theirs better go up by a better percentage than mine does. So I make you that commitment that state employees will be treated better than I treat myself as governor.
Instead of raising money off of tax to the farmer department, how about getting income tax on everybody?
Question we've heard before. Why not have a state income tax versus increased property taxes on the real estate of our farmers?
I'm opposed to a state income tax, and I've stated that before, and I remain that way. Those states that have a state income tax, that's one of the reasons that they're in the dire straits they're in right now. I talked about South Dakota being in a relatively good position as compared to other states. Our state deficit was measured by the Pew Center on the states at 2.9%. There were 12 states with deficits over 20%, 4 more with deficits over 30%, 3 more with deficits over 40%, including California at 49%. Why is that? Because when their income taxes bring in lots of revenue during the really good economic times, their governments find ways to spend those dollars. They find homes for those dollars. They find new programs for those dollars. And when the economy goes into the tank, the revenue from income tax drops like a stone. Our sales tax does move up and down as the economy ebbs and flows, but not to the degree that an income tax does. Moreover, I think adding an income tax to our state tax structure would simply be one more tax. One might say in the beginning that, well, we'll cut property taxes and add an income tax. I believe those taxes would come marching back later, and then you'd have more taxes overall than you would when you started. So I'd be opposed to a state income tax.
I'm opposed to a state income tax, but my thinking is a little different from the lieutenant governor's. Actually, what we have now in terms of tax structure are 3 legs to the stool. We tax property, we tax income federally, and we tax consumption through the sales tax. And the question is how you adjust those to get it just right. But his suggestion that somehow South Dakota is well managed right now, and so we don't need to revisit the question of tax structure, I think is completely wrong. South Dakota is mismanaged, and it really is frightening. 2 weeks ago, Time Magazine had a cover story called The Broken States of America. The Broken States of America. And how did we do? How did South Dakota do? This isn't the Pew Institute. This is Time Magazine. How do we do? Well, if you compare our upcoming deficit of $107 million, or whatever you choose the number to be, with our revenue stream, which is $1.14 billion, that's 9%. In other words, 9% of our expected revenue will be taken up in the deficit that we're going to face. How's California? We're 9%. California is 9.1%. California is the poster child for mismanagement of state government, and our record is almost identical to theirs. Now, if you think South Dakota is being well run, or that it's being run by fiscal conservatives, the truth is actually contrary. It's not being well run. In fact, the governor just today issued a press release talking about how we balanced the books. We ended in the black for the end of this year, starting on July 1. I thought it was fascinating. How did we do it, he said. Or the question was, how did you do it? He didn't reduce the size of government. The size of government continues to be the same size it was. He chose not to fill some positions. He delayed equipment purchases, and they shifted one-time funds. And the size of government remains the same size it is. Unless and until we get our arms around the fact that government's growing too fast and too large for a state of our population, we're going to continue to have these problems.
Okay, next question. You know how quick you vote up? Let's have one more, I think we're about up to a half hour, aren't we? One more question.
I have something that I want to bring up. I don't know if it's relevant to this or not, but you know, big fishing parks, we continually purchasing more and more and more land, putting it into habitat, food, whatever. You've got deer population that's crazy. Don't care where you drive, any day, you got deer on the road there that get very caught. We have a huge expense repairing cars. Burden on individuals that are driving, injuries, personal injuries, death, whatever. Burden to insurance companies. Yep, keep fishing parks, this wants more water. I don't know, what are we going to put a stop to? You got an answer to that? I think we need to do something. It's getting fishing parks, where do they get their money from? Are we funding through the state or where?
Okay, question